South Korea has experienced one of the largest economic transformation in the world, and it has been very successful in economics since the 1960s and in democratization since the 1980s. The ranking of the most powerful countries in the world in 2022 has been revealed in the US and World News reports. According to evaluations by various institutes and the media, Korea's national power is rapidly rising. In terms of GDP, South Korea has economic power more than 50 times that of North Korea. The most powerful country in the world, according to US and World News reports, is the United States. China is second, Russia is third, Germany is fourth, the UK is fifth, and South Korea is sixth, while Japan is eighth. Last year, Japan ranked sixth, but this year it fell to eighth, and South Korea took sixth place instead. Recently, in the data released by famous Japanese Economic Research Institute, the GDP was predicted for each country. If you look at the data, Japan's nominal per capita GDP will lag behind Taiwan in 2022 and catch up with Korea in 2023. This result is not a temporary phenomenon, and the institute predicted that Japan will lag behind Korea and Taiwan in terms of GDP in the future. The reason is that Japan has problems with the late digitization, labor productivity not increasing, and the weak yen and R&D investment is lagging behind Korea and Taiwan. So, because of these problems in Japan, it was reported that Korea and Taiwan would overtake Japan in terms of economic power.
This series of evaluations gives the Korean people great hope and pride. South Korea's economic power is more than 50 times that of North Korea, but North Korea is increasing its tactical nuclear weapons exponentially and threatening South Korea.
Raymond Aron, a famous French thinker and theorist of international politics, said in his book Peace and War that national power is determined based on the size of territory, population, economic power, technological power, etc.
If the ranking of national power is considered, there should be no war. If a country with strong national power and a country with weak national power go to war, it is natural that the country with strong national power always wins.
According to Raymond Aron, there is no guarantee that a country with strong national power will always win over a weak country. It is said that there are always many contingent or accidental elements in war. Even in the war between Vietnam and the United States had overwhelming power, but could not fight the war to victory.
The war between France and Vietnam was also won by Vietnam, and in the war between the Soviet Union and Afghanistan, the Soviet Union suffered enormous damage and had to withdraw. Historically, in quite a few cases, weak countries do not always lose wars to great powers. Of course, Russia is in an overwhelmingly strong position in terms of national power. compared to Ukraine and should have won in a short period of time. Nearly every military expert and public opinion in the world predicted that Ukraine would not be able to last for even a week, maybe up to a month, but that prediction was completely wrong. But the war in Ukraine is still not going as planned for Putin. Some experts predict that Russia will lose the war, and Putin will be ousted from Russian politics and go into exile in some South American country. The will to fight, the morale of Ukrainian leaders and people, and the support of the United States and NATO countries are very important factors. And the fact that the Russian political system is a dictatorship must be taken into account. Dictatorships can quickly mobilize wartime regimes without the need for parliamentary approval or public support. However, in dictatorships, the corruption of bureaucracy is so severe that it is not uncommon for military equipment to be supplied with low-quality parts instead of expensive, high-quality parts in order to embezzle funds. Many of these complex factors influence warfare. Now let's see what results are predicted between South Korea and North Korea. If you simply compare the GDP of North and South Korea, you may get a wrong prediction. Since its economy and national power are strong, of course South Korea should defeat North Korea in a war. North Korea is a totalitarian dictatorship. The country's ability to mobilize resources may differ from that in democratic South Korea. Korea's economic power is overwhelmingly strong, but if it cannot mobilize and concentrate human and economic resources, the difference in national power between the two countries is meaningless. Democracies are less likely to make quick decisions in times of war than dictatorships, because opposition parties interfere heavily and public opinion must be considered. Since North Korea is a dictatorship, although it has limited economic and human resources, there is no opposition, and even if the people are dying because of lack of food, they are pouring all their resources into developing nuclear weapons and missiles. When evaluating national strength, the North Korean population is small, but the government could easily mobilize young North Koreans. And soldiers in North Korea serve for at least 10 years. In South Korea, the Army and Marine Corps serve for 1 year and 6 months. In mobilizing material and human resources, it is not always possible to say that the country with higher GDP will be victorious. The country must be unified and cohesive. War is a real and sobering issue. Looking at the relationship between Korea and Japan, the Japan Economic Research Center's GDP forecast data and the ranking of the country shown by the US News and World Reports are also important. However, in the change of national security strategy, South Korea is directly affected by its border with North Korea, but South Korea provides a shield between North Korea and Japan. That's why South Korea has to make decisions and act much more quickly than Japan in terms of national security. However, Japan is overtaking South Korea in terms of being able to strike missile bases in North Korea and China more quickly. And the speed of Japan's military power increase is also quite fast. South Korea says it will increase its defense budget a lot this year, while Japan says it will increase it from 1% to 2% of GDP in the near future. Japan is rapidly increasing its military power. Japan's military power growth is faster than Korea's. And the difference between Korea and Japan is that Korea is obsessed with historical issues from 70 years ago. History is important, but Japan is no longer the imperialist country it was 70 years ago, but a democratic country. And the international situation is also very different from the past. China is rapidly emerging, and North Korea is producing nuclear weapons in large quantities.
If the international situation changes like this, there must be a change in the perceptions of national leaders and people. However, in Korea's perspective, Japan, it remains in the past. Strategic ideas are very important in establishing a country's strategy. The United States and Japan are further strengthening their alliance.
Currently, there is a Korea-United States Combined Forces Command in Korea, although it is not in Japan. However, the United States and Japan are trying to strengthen the United States-Japan alliance and establish the United States-Japan Combined Forces Command. China is on the rise. The United States-Japan alliance is intended to counter the rise of China and North Korea's nuclear and missile threats.
Korea needs to think deeply about what choices it has to make in this situation. That's why a cool-headed strategic choice is more important than a comparison of national power rankings provided by the media or research institutes. If the threat from North Korea is getting serious, the war for supremacy between the United States and China intensifies due to the rise of China, and the possibility of war in Taiwan increases. South Korea must devise a strategy on what path to choose.
We need to come up with a strategy on how the Korea-United States-Japan security cooperation should be strengthened. If there is a Korea-United States Combined Forces Command and a United States-Japan Combined Forces Command is established, a strong alliance system between Korea, the United States, and Japan should also be created. This shift in strategic thinking is far more important than the arithmetic comparison of national power. Thank you for watching the video, Comparisons of National Power and Predicting Actual Results in War, provided by History and Current Events. I'm Rebecca. Mia, Katie, Leah, and Tony have contributed so far as narrators. Thank you.